Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Pitstick with evidence-based answers to commonly asked spiritual questions. And one is there really an eventual heavenly afterlife for all? Great question. First of all, many of us were brought up with the idea that some people, if they choose it or believe a certain way or certain good deeds, go to heaven forever, others go to hell. That meets the human idea of need for justice. In other words, we think that people like Hitler should burn in hell forever and people who are saints in heaven forever. But it's not always that simple. So the evidence suggests that, and we're talking about all the collective evidence that there is an afterlife, that we are spiritual beings, that eternity is for a long, long time. And while there might be temporary self-induced hells, that there aren't fiery, eternal ones. So keep that in mind, first of all. Secondly, what is heaven? The idea of heaven as a place somewhere way up in the sky is really archaic. The original Aramaic meant degrees of closeness or separation from God. In other words, when we realize our oneness with God, when we're living at a high energy, vibrating at a high rate, when we're breathing with our whole body, when we're breathing with the cosmos, that's when we're in heaven right now. So it doesn't have to be someday, somewhere else. Maybe it can be right now. Another meaning of heaven was how you feel when you pass on, and you get to review your afterlife and feel and see directly all the good things you did for others. So these are important to remember when we ask this question: will everyone end up in heaven forever? Certainly it's a choice. No one's forced to be in heaven, but it appears that, like the prodigal son story, everyone eventually gets tired of being away from their root, from their true nature, and wants to come back home. Now, there's a lot of talk in some circles about you got to save your soul. You could lose your soul. You have to have it. I know when my grandfather was saved, and I never mentioned a particular church, but in this church, at his funeral, the offering plate was being passed around, and all my relatives were putting 20s and 50s. People didn't have the money to give. And I asked my dad, what's this about? And they said, well, your grandfather wasn't that godly of a man. He didn't go to church, and he's cussed some, and he drank some. So this is so the minister, so to speak, will pray him into heaven, so he didn't hang out in limbo or hell. I thought, what a racket that is. And even at 12 years old, I could see through that one. So you can't lose your soul. Your soul is energy. Your soul is part of God. Energy is indestructible, so let that one go. The other thing to realize is eternity is now. It's happening right now. In other words, we think, well, after this human life, then we'll enter eternity, or we'll enter heaven. Well, it's already happening. We're already in the midst of it. We just need to realize that so we can enjoy that heavenly state. Remember that, as many people who come back from near-death experiences say, we each are one with the one. We each are a part of Source. And again, that's right now. That's not maybe someday if you do certain things, if you believe certain things. It's a fact of life. It's the way the universe is set up, that we're each part and parcel of God. So this is some partial answers to that. We'll come back with more about that. Be sure to visit our website, soulproof.com. Think about these things and let them help you know and show that you are a powerful spiritual being.